personally believe that it is an extremely selfish act, and the person who actually commits it is either completely oblivious to or ignorant of the impact the relevant party has on the lives of people around them.
When somebody doesn't know how to handle a challenge that life throws at them or feels completely hopeless, they take suicide because it feeds them to find that solution of being rid of the pain. But the consequences, they don't think of it because they are in a painful situation or in a challenging situation.
So you are justifying suicide?
I'm not justifying suicide. I'm saying it's not a selfish act. Rather, it's an act of hopelessness.
Okay, so I agree that therapy is necessary for people with serious mental issues. Okay, but I think it's severely overused in modern society that everyone, just for the sake of feeling sad or anxious, resorts to therapy. And in alignment with that, I also think that there's just a general atmosphere of everyone being overly sensitive to issues, which contributes to this. The fact that people resort to therapy for every little problem that arises in their day-to-day life.
Okay, so if you're talking about day-to-day life stressors, you mean, like, let's say you're facing an interview.
Okay.
Do you get stressed when you face an interview?
I think that's subjective, that depends on the person. I personally don't.
Exactly. So therapy is also very subjective. Depends on the person because everyone has different levels of resilience and coping skills. Therapy is basically an approach where you actively engage in exploring your skills of dealing with stresses. You also learn new skills if you don't have them. You also identify your strengths if you aren't aware of them. So it's not a treatment approach to say, yeah, only people with PTSD or schizophrenia needs therapy. It's basically for everybody who thinks that in that particular situation that they're unable to deal with that particular challenge in life.
How do you identify someone who's actually suffering from mental health versus someone who's maybe looking for just a quick endorphin high? And connected to that, there are a lot of people who do take antidepressants, get hooked on it, and can't go off of it.
Medications are used to balance the imbalances in our chemicals in the body.
Yeah.
Now, when you take mental health conditions, medications is an alternative approach along with psychotherapy, which means building life skills to deal with challenges. When somebody is in a state biologically not able to comprehend the life skills, which means that there is a biological discrepancy in their chemical balance in the body. So medications are prescribed. What I would say as a therapist is that whenever you take medication, you also need to seek therapy so that you don't become drug dependent.
So you're saying two need to go hand in hand?
Therapy and drugs, yes.
Like rehab when it comes to a sports injury, you take painkillers as well as physical rehabilitation?
Absolutely.
Okay. When it comes to children, okay, so two things. I believe A, that psychological issues that are severe enough that children go through can be directly attributed to bad parenting. And secondly, these issues, okay, let's say regardless of bad parenting, whatever issue they have, they're just starting on their life. They can overcome it without resorting to medication or anything. They'll outgrow it basically.
Okay, so everything you learned in life, you learned all of them only from your parents?
No. But I'm saying my parents didn't cause permanent mental issues in me that I need to resort to therapy.
Of course,
Yeah.
which is where I'm getting to.
Okay.
So you learned everything from different factors and different actors in your life.
Yes.
Which means, because you had a supportive parenting background,
Yes.
you obviously also perhaps had other supportive factors, and you were also able to deal with challenges in life because you had all these many factors, not just one particular resource.
Okay. I'll see where you're going with this.
Yeah, so just like that. For a child to have mental health issues, it's not necessarily bad parenting. It's also all these other factors because we're humans, we grow up in a multifaceted environment. We don't just grow up with our parental guidance.
I feel like people have now gotten accustomed to just saying just because they're sad, they attribute it to being a mental health deficiency. Whereas there are people with real life issues when it comes to being war refugees, no basic human rights, no food or shelter. So in such a context, how would you prioritize this sad person as opposed to these people with actual problems? To evaluate, to diagnose someone as having a mental health issue, an issue severe enough that you put them in the same class as these people?
There is no standard as such. When you take health as a whole, we look at health, a person being a healthy well-being.
Okay.
Now, do you go to the gym just because you had a fall and you broke your bone, or do you go to the gym because you want to feel healthy physically? You don't have to necessarily suffer a physical ailment for you to do something that makes you feel better physically.
Okay.
Right? So just like that, you don't have to suffer mentally to take care of your mental